Hi, it's Miss Gates. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. Today, we're going to be talking about Women's History Month, which is in the month of March, is what we honor those who have done something that's pretty significant or amazing. And today, we're going to be talking about a special girl who was only age 6 when she became a hero, and her name is Ruby Bridges. So, we're going to be looking at her today. And what she did that was kind of important. One of the things that she did is back when she was going to school, which was in 1960. The schools were ordered by the Supreme Court, which is the biggest court of all the courts in our country. And they're the people and the judges that make decisions, that make things like laws that we all have to follow. And they had made the law that segregation was no longer okay, that was when you were separated based on your skin color. Well, where Ruby lived, which was in New Orleans, which is in Louisiana, which is a few states over from us in the South, the schools there were not following that law. In fact, the school that was right down the street from Ruby was called William Frantz Elementary School. And that school decided that they were going to make, if you had darker colored skin, they were going to make you take a very hard test to get into their school, which of course we know is not okay. And the neat thing about it is, though, that Ruby passed it. So they had to let her in. Now, the school was right down the street from her. And her dad was really nervous about her going because he knew that people don't like change. And he was afraid for her safety. But her mom really wanted her to go because her mom thought that that school had a better education than she was getting. And her mom wanted her daughter to have a better education than she had gotten when she was a little girl. So what happened was she was going to go to school, but the president of the United States sent down 4 guards to help protect her to walk her into school. And what happened was, you're going to see in the video that we're going to watch in a minute here, is that there was an angry mob, which is a large group of people that were outside, and they were angry that Ruby was walking into that school and going to that school. And we're going to watch the video and see what happened when she got into the classroom, and you'll see how the people reacted and what happened. So I'm going to ask, after we're done, I'm going to share a quiz with you, and we're just going to do it together, and we're going to answer the questions. I want to see if you can get them right. All right, so here we go. And there's Ruby on the steps of her school with her guards around her. And she had a very brave look on her face, which was amazing. She was a very brave little girl.
The year was 1960, and some white people didn't treat black people as equal. In some parts of the US, black people were kept separate from whites and viewed as less. They couldn't sit with whites on a bus or drink from the same fountains. They said, why us? It wasn't fair. If there was a school with white kids, then black kids couldn't go there. White people had set up this separation, and it was called segregation. It affected many, truly, including a girl from New Orleans named Ruby. Ruby Bridges was 6 years old when she did something brave and bold. Ruby lived by William Frantz Elementary School. It was for white kids only. What would Ruby do? Now, the Supreme Court had already ruled that segregation was bad. It should be given the boot. The Supreme Court had tried to change it. They said all schools have to be integrated. That means kids of every single color were allowed to go to school with each other. But that wasn't the end of segregation. Some schools still didn't allow integration. See, William Frantz gave a hard test to black kids, and they couldn't attend if they didn't pass it. But Ruby passed it and gave the school no choice. The US government used its voice and said Ruby had the right to go. She was only 6 and she became a hero. She was the first black child to attend an all-white elementary school without a friend.
Oh, Ruby, when will all this be over? When will everyone be treated the same? Oh, Ruby Bridges changed the course of history. I never knew a little girl could be so brave. Oh, Ruby, when changed the course of history. I never knew a little girl could be so brave.
Ruby's first day, people were cruel. A mob of angry white people stood outside the school. They yelled mean things at Ruby Bridges. Most people would have given up, but Ruby didn't. The US president sent guards to keep her safe from the crowd that was filled with hate. She had a brave, confident look on her face as she entered the school that day. When she got to class, guess what she found? All the white parents had pulled their kids out. They didn't want their kids in class with Ruby just because she was black. She was nice, but they saw her as an enemy. So it was only Ruby and Mrs. Henry, her teacher, who was very kind. It was just the two of them for a long time. She taught Ruby every subject for months. Slowly white kids came back, not all at once. After going through the first grade, Ruby made it to the second grade and it was integrated. Her class that year had black and white, all because Ruby never gave up her rights. She had courage and determination to help overcome segregation. Today some are still not treated equal, and Ruby continues to fight for those people. All it takes is compassion for others. Learn to treat people like your sisters and brothers.
Oh Ruby, when will all this be over? When will everyone be treated the same? Oh Ruby Bridges, change the course of history. I never knew a little girl could be so brave. Oh Ruby, when will all this be over? When will everyone be treated the same? Oh Ruby Bridges changed the course of history. I never knew a little girl could be so brave. As brave as Ruby, as brave as Ruby.
So you saw what happened when she went to school that day, and all the kids were not there. But it looked like after a while she had come back. So they had come back actually to see her. So, all right, let's see. So I can get this to go back. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do a quiz together on screen together, and I want you to see if you can get the answers correct. Let's see. In the 1960s, black and white people couldn't ride together on the bus from the same fountains or go to the same schools. And what was this separation called? You have an option of compassion, integration, segregation, or determination. So think in your head just for a minute what you think it might be. And if you chose segregation, then you are correct. Next one is Ruby Bridges was the first black child to integrate an all-white elementary school by herself, visit the Supreme Court, sit with white children on a bus, or skip the first grade. Think about it for a minute. And if you chose integrate an all-white elementary school by herself, then you are correct. And what is it called when students of all colors can go to school together? Is it called segregation, integration, separation, or testing? And when everyone can go to school together, it means you're including everyone, which is like integration. So if you chose B, then you got it right. What did Ruby have to do before she was allowed to attend William Frantz Elementary School? Did she have to write an essay, do a book report, meet all the kids in her class, or take a hard test? And if you chose D, take a hard test, then you got it right. And this is our last one. What did the U.S. president do to keep Ruby safe on her first day of school? A, he came to New Orleans. B, he sent guards to walk with her. C, he ordered a mob of white people to stay home. Or D, he shut down William Frantz Elementary School. And if you chose B, he sent guards to walk with her, then you got it right. All right, so that is it for today as far as our lesson goes for Women's History Month. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you very soon.